Mississippi State University was the site of an historic musical event, the first concert exclusively devoted to Southern ragtime music. In Program 2 of our three-part series, noted ragtime pianist Richard Zimmerman is joined by Robert Alt, Dennis Pash, and Kevin Saunders of the Etcetera String Band.
Ragtime was played on the piano, but by no means was it exclusively piano music. And especially in the South, there were many, many string players and string bands, and there was an entire tradition of ragtime played by string players. But very, very few people know any of these tunes. It's very obscure, but the foremost authorities and musicians on string ragtime come from Kansas City, and they are here tonight, and it is my pleasure to introduce them to you right now. So from Kansas City, Missouri, here is the Etcetera String Band.
We're going to kick off by doing a piece called Cakewalk. It was a dance. And since people always ask what a cakewalk is, I'll say a few words about it first. Cakewalk was originally a folk dance done by slaves on plantations down south. And when they started out doing it, what they were actually doing was exaggerating steps that they saw their masters do. Their masters thought it was so amusing that they started copying the slaves doing it. And it became part of minstrel shows, which was white guys blacking up their faces and originally presenting slave culture as entertainment. It eventually became a ballroom dance around the turn of the century in the 1890s. And then it went out of style sort of after that when other dances came in the teens later on. So the one we're going to play for you now is a dance. It's the earliest cakewalk that we found from our hometown, Kansas City. It was done by a guy named Geo Lang in 1897, and it's called Dreams of Old Kentucky. The next piece we're going to do also comes from Kansas City, and this was the first big rag hit to come out of Kansas City in 1901. It was composed by a guy named Edward Harry Kelly, and he called it Peaceful Henry, and it was named for the janitor at the music store where he worked. And when I first became interested in ragtime back in the 70s and found out so much of the history took place in Kansas City, I thought I'd try and do some research myself. So I looked in the phone book and found a Mrs. E. Harry Kelly listed in the phone book, and called her up, and it turned out to be his widow. And she was in her 90s. She gave us like some of his manuscripts, including 2 published rags and photographs and things. And we played this piece over at her house, and she seemed thrilled. So we're going to do it now. It's called Peaceful Henry. This was a major hit of the ragtime era, and as far as we know, the first rag to ever be recorded on records. Now we're going to do a piece by the king of ragtime writers, Scott Joplin. And we figure we do a piece that everybody knows, since most of our other stuff's pretty obscure. This is called The Entertainer. And it's particularly appropriate for us to do because on the original music, Scott Joplin dedicated this to James Brown and his Mandolin Club. And make no mistake about it, that's not the guy that did Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. This was a guy that preceded him quite a while, apparently a mandolin player. And so Joplin, it seems, wrote The Entertainer with mandolins in mind. And thanks to a friend of ours, we managed to get the original mandolin arrangement published by John Stark for 2 mandolins and guitar. So now we're going to present to you the original mandolin arrangement of The Entertainer by Scott Joplin. We'd now like to do a cakewalk tune by a prominent composer from our own hometown named Charles L. Johnson. He was probably the most successful ragtime composer from Kansas City. He did the Dill Pickles rag. And this is an early piece of his, and it's called Hester on Parade. We'd like to close this portion of the show, first half of the show, with a medley. And this stuff, although it ranges a little bit far afield of ragtime, is actually related to ragtime. We're going to do some dances that are called meringue dances. Not merengues, but meringues. This type of dance comes from Haiti, which has been in the news a lot lately. And this type of stuff originated around the same time as ragtime did, and it's kind of syncopated in the same way as ragtime. Sounds similar in a lot of ways. There may be another connection because in the old cakewalk dances, the prize dancer got a cake for his efforts, and in the old meringue dances, the prize dancer got a meringue, which was a pastry. And some of the music is similar as well. So we've got a medley from our latest recording, Bon Humeur, in which we explore a lot of this type of stuff. And so the first two are meringue dances from Haiti. The first one was composed by Arthur DeRosso, a Haitian violinist. The next meringue was composed by Ludovic Lamotte. He was known as the Black Chopin. That piece is called Lisette. The third meringue is a lemon meringue.
Right.
No, actually, the third one isn't even a meringue at all. It's a bamboula dance. And it comes not from Haiti, but from the Virgin Islands. So how it got in there, I don't know. But anyway, this is our Caribbean medley for you.
I don't know if you've had a chance to meet all of the gentlemen. On this end, on banjo and everything else, Mr. Robert Alt, right here. Robert Alt.
Thank you.
And on guitar at the far end, Mr. Kevin Saunders. Kevin. And the gentleman that somehow keeps all of these wonderful bits of trivia straight and also manages to play all those wonderful instruments in the middle, Mr. Dennis Pash. Dennis.
In part 3 of Ragged Time, more from the Etcetera String Band, reflections on America's first indigenous musical form, and a rare collection of ragtime-era music and memorabilia at Mississippi State's Templeton Music Museum.